Good evening. At this time, we'll get our work session underway. We have most of our department heads here and council here, so our regular scheduled council meeting will begin at 6:30. At this time, we'll hear from Mr. Kilgore.
Yes, sir. Only thing that I was bringing tonight is, per our last meeting, we had some discussions which led to an executive session, and I would ask to take you into another executive session to give a follow-up on that because of conditions that could lead to litigation or some sort of challenge to the proposed ordinances. So whenever you feel that you'd like to move forward with that, probably during the work session, maybe at the end. I don't think that it would take very long, but I'm also usually a little bit too optimistic as far as how short those might take. I only really need 10 minutes to really present to you to give you the updates that were requested. But whenever you're ready to do that, if you think 10 minutes will suffice, I think we can manage.
Okay. Come back to you when we run through this. Department head. Stacy? Allison?
No, sir.
Kevin?
No, sir.
Chief?
The 8M burn ban has ended at the end of October, but the Alabama Forestry Commission has imposed a fire danger advisory, which means you can still burn, but you have to be very cautious. So we just want to extend that information out to let everybody in the community know that if you're going to burn, to use a lot of caution just because it's so dry and the humidity is so low right now. So.
Chief?
I don't know if any of you guys have been by the PD recently, but we got some renovations going on. You know, we're doing redoing the floor in the lobby, but also we got one of our grants that we had gotten, we redirected toward purchasing a real-time crime center hardware, and we're in the process. Robert and James have helped us do a build-out to get it ready for that, all of that equipment that's going to be brought in December. And Robert and James did a phenomenal job too, and I finally just learned that I just need to let them make all the decisions about everything, because I can't envision construction stuff. Robert did a phenomenal job with it, like I said, James did too. But I think you're really going to like what it looks like when we get through, and it is going to be a world-class real-time crime center that will be able to grow as technology grows with us. And we took some of the existing furniture we had, we put it over at our CID office, and we've got a nice workstation there for an analyst. So we've got some good future growth set up, and I love the fact that we were able to take that grant and pay for the bulk of what we're doing over there. But we should be done with that maybe late December, and I'd love for you guys all to come over. You're welcome to come now and take a look. It's been painted, and you know we're just waiting on the hardware and all to be installed and delivered. But it's really going to look nice. I think you'll all be proud of it. That's all.
Seth?
No,
Yes. Bill?
I don't believe so.
Ready?
No, sir.
Okay.
First off, our public bathrooms in the Main Street courtyard, that is a tremendous job that y'all did, Bill, with the restrooms and what have you. We just have one thing missing, and that is signage for those restroom buildings, that restroom building. The public is not aware that we have a public restroom in the courtyard. People are coming and enjoying the playground in the pavilion and are not aware that we have public facilities adjacent to the playground and pavilion. So parents have been bringing portable potties for small children to the playground, and individuals are asking to use restrooms in the downtown businesses because there is no signage indicating that the building is a public restroom. Now, like I said, you guys did a great job. It looks great. Great with getting the construction done, but we need to get signage for that building. So what can we do?
We can put some sign, I'll see what, I don't know if it was on the plans or not. I'll see if there's something on it. If not, we can add some kind of signage to make it look decent.
Right, they're not, like I said, they're not aware that that building is a restroom. So, great, thanks for that. And I need to know where we are on the design of Phase 2 of Main Street.
So the only money in for phase 2 was what we're doing now, which is going to be setting up for parking. But as far as a physical, doing the engineering of whatever phase 2 is gonna look like, I haven't started that at all.
And you said that's due to not having money for,
Best I recall, there was nothing budgeted in this year for any phase 2 construction aside from parking.
so, I guess I need to refer that to the mayor then. I thought that we were going to move forward on the design.
I don't know that we've made a formal move forward in design. I know that, we've got some conceptual.
Yeah, we've got some, we've got a conceptual plan that's adjusted based on the overpass impact and where it's going. And there's, conceptual stuff, but we haven't went out there and spent resources on shooting elevations or doing any grading, grading design or drainage design or any of that type of stuff. We haven't done any of that yet.
So, we hadn't addressed that, but we have things in the works for the overpass. So, but that would fall in line with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know that Bill has been involved in the workings of the overpass, and we don't have any of that finalized. Volker hasn't given you anything.
No, it's all preliminary. It's out for comment. You'll have to have comment from Aldott, you'll have to have comment from CSX, get comments from them, and then it'll come back again with their comments. And, probably version 3.0 will start from that and go back over to them for comments. So that really hasn't, none of the horizontal alignment stuff. I think the vertical alignment's probably tied down based off of minimal clearances, but the vertical part of it's there's probably still some adjustment that's going to be done on that, based on comments we get from Aldott and CSX.
So what type of timeline do we have to look for from Aldott and other people that will have input that in order to get that, underway?
So if you look at the grant timeline, this phase of it, I would say at least 6 months, maybe longer, maybe 9 months to go through that review process.
So possibly, the beginning of the next fiscal year?
I think if maybe the beginning, if y'all wanted to go ahead and start looking at what money you wanted to lay out for phase 2, there probably could be some thought, of design for fiscal year of next year, yeah.
Okay.
Possibly. It's a lot of different people want to review it.
So Bill, when I was talking with you about it, I think the biggest thing we was looking at was the layout of the bridge and what we would be able to use and what we can't use would be a major factor in the planning stage for phase 2. Well, that's basically one reason that I know we kind of been in the holding pattern waiting on you to get some information from Volker on the layout of the bridge to see if we can use it, if we can't use it. So I'm aware of that.
Okay, and also, we discussed during our last meeting, the street lights being paid by the city in certain subdivisions. And to me, it's a fairness issue about the streetlights being covered by the city. Some are and some are not. And I would hope that other council members will join me in agreement that if we are doing it for some, or we're doing it for the majority, then it should be covered for all of them. Now, we don't have any rules or regulations around it, it's just kind of haphazard. So, I would like that we would put it up for a vote, not just for Union Station, which is on the agenda tonight, but because after Union Station, we'll have other subdivisions coming and want theirs addressed. So I think we should not piecemeal it, just do it all at once. And like I said, the majority is being paid currently by the city, so the remainder should be paid as well. That is my opinion, and I hope that the council will agree that we shouldn't pay it for some and not for others. So, anyone with comments on that?
I think we got some rules in place now, but Kevin might could address what the rules is with the newer subdivisions as they kind of.
Yeah, they're, once they get a final plat approved, they can come to y'all and ask for approval to have their streetlights taken over.
Okay, so we're just doing them one at a time, we're not gonna like take them all in and have that issue taken care of?
It's to y'all's discretion whether you want to pay for them or not.
Like I said, the majority, we're paying the majority already, so, well, you know, the remainder should be paid as well, because we don't wanna, treat other subdivisions different than we are, you know, other ones. So, other subdivisions with HOAs, their street lights have been covered, so I just feel like we should cover all of them. There are just a few remainders, so it should be taken care of in that manner. That's just my take on it. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, Debbie.
I too am going to ask some questions about the streetlights. We pay $790 for those lights. Are any of those lights LED? Do we know?
I have no idea.
We're swapping. So once we swap to LED, as we swap, are we getting a discounted rate on our one? Do we know how many have been swapped over? Perfect. Okay. The TAP grant for 25 and 31, when do we expect to see any movement on that?
So, if you recall, that's the one where y'all wanted to relocate utilities underground in that area. And that is, we met with the utilities, I think it was on the 21st. Kind of laid out our plan to Alabama Power. That's going to be the biggest hurdle. And you have to keep in mind, for any of the utilities to relocate, that's going to require 2 railroad boards with 2 different railroad companies.
Is there a time frame on that TAP grant?
So, yes, but in talking to region office, what we can do, it has to be bid. It has to be out for bid, I want to say, summer of next year. We can start the grant, which is the demolition part, pause the grant, do the utility work, and then restart the grant when we go to put stuff back. So, but the planning part of it, Alabama Power is working on their end to see if their planning department even thinks it's feasible for that line to go underground. Their first thoughts is, from their standpoint, they feel like it can be, but that's going to require, and we have to do the boring. We have to provide all the infrastructure. So we'll have to bore Norfolk Southern for Alabama Power. We'll have to bore CSX for Spectrum and AT&T.
Will those require easements again?
No, it should be just AlDOT CSX and Norfolk Southern permitting, which does take a significant amount of time.
So back to the bridge overpass, when do we expect to see some kind of movement, like starting with that bridge? We've got engineering going on, and have we done any ground testing or any of that on that bridge, for the bridge? Then we have to do some environmental testing?
Yeah, you're still in the pre-award stage of it.
So we probably won't see anything with that bridge for several more years, is that right?
It's a pretty good, safe assumption.
Okay. So, Mayor, do we have an update of when I-65 will start the widening process?
I think it's slated to begin before the end of this year, and it's starting in Alabaster.
Starting in Alabaster.
They've got it, I think that they have it on 3 phases, so Alabaster, first phase being those bridges on north and southbound side. And then they'll come to the airport, and they'll come on down, the third leg of it will come on down to 31.
Okay, knowing this about the bridge and I-65 and the TAP grant, I do know that we have one apartment complex with, I think, probably 300 units in it, slated to start soon. And for the reason of the infrastructure, I would like for this council to discuss putting moratorium on any future complexes for at least 18 months. That will give time for the municipality elections to come, the new leadership to be in place, and then they can have the decision whether or not we need to move forward with additional apartment complexes.
How many houses do we have on the books? Maybe 900 or so, Kevin?
So I think we have plenty of housing in the future, plenty of housing available now, and I think a moratorium would be a step to protect our community, to lessen the load on our infrastructure with being the roadways. I'd like to know if the council has any dialogue that they would like to add to this. Yes, no?
Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit to it. Kevin, don't we have a senior apartment building 55 and over coming?
Yes, sir.
Do you know approximately how many that would be?
It's got 30. It's more, I think, more than
It's on a 10-acre parcel, and it's up on Smoky Road at the airport exit.
Maybe 100,
I don't think it's that many.
50.
that. I thought it was 30-something too.
48's ringing a bell with me in my head, but I may be thinking about something else.
It's not a big,
It's not 8 or 50.
It's not huge.
So now I'm bringing this moratorium on you tonight. Is it possible that we could have dialogues tonight here in the work session and add it to the agenda to consider at our next meeting?
And Mayor, I would just interject very quickly that you can have a valid moratorium on something like this, but you have to establish the parameters so that it is in fact something that is not arbitrary. So it does take a good bit of crafting in order to pull it together. I think Tuscaloosa recently done a moratorium. I believe it also faced some challenges. So I just want to caution that you can absolutely fashion something that works, but you have to really give some consideration to the time frame and precisely what it is that you want to do, extend the moratorium for. So I won't say anything outside of that without maybe counseling on a little more, maybe even an executive session on that. But I have a few more words I would say on that as well.
Well, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Kenny?
There's Brian, a question for you. How's your railroad easement coming for downtown? Are you about through with it?
No, we actually sent the We sent our changes over to CSX and with our red line because through the representations we heard at council a couple of meetings back, we thought we received some relief. Unfortunately, the red line that we received back basically removed all my red lines and put back all of the conditions that would trigger new lines of insurance. So where we're at now is we've received no relief from CSX on those issues. So it kind of goes back into the court of them requiring us to go out and bring on new lines of insurance for some environmental and pollution provisions. So right now, we've been at an impasse because I sent a red line and they just removed all the red lines and sent them back to me. So it really comes down to, is this council ready to reach out and obtain all this new insurance in order to meet the requirements? I have not been able to secure anyone on a phone at CSX that I could, talk this through with. But I think that would be my next move, is to get somebody with some authority to tell me, can we move on this or not? And right now, I just haven't been given any contacts that can get me there. It's very frustrating dealing with CSX, I will tell you that. Because the contacts that Bill has are engineers, and he may be able to talk with folks there, but when I'm trying, I just get on a loop when I start trying to talk to the attorneys that are actually working these. I still have not been able to identify the attorney who redlined this and sent it to us. So I will give it a second pass tomorrow to confirm that, but where we left it last week was I couldn't identify another contact, so I'll give it another pass and see if I can come back to y'all, but they're not moving on those provisions that we try to get them to remove. Bill, do you have anything to add to that as far as anything that you've seen them do or respond to that?
No, I the only attorney contact I had, I think I sent you from other discussion, and I went ahead and filled out an application to send to our insurance, I don't know if it's an agent or whatever you call it as, it's an agent. And last contact I had with him last week is he sent it out for quotes and hasn't heard anything back yet. So it'll have to go out on the market. It's kind of specialty insurance. It's not something you just go down to Alpha and get. It's you're looking at like Lords of Londons and Travelers and people like that that cover these type of things. It'll be very specific, one-off type insurance.
Where's the lady that came to the meeting and so anxiously told us optimistically that we could do what we needed to do?
I did forward it to her, and I think that she had every intention of being helpful, but once it was forwarded to the folks who were actually doing the redlining, it came back without much relief, unfortunately.
I spoke with Sherry today, and she said that if the ball was in their court, just to let her know that she would do everything in her power to help connect the dots.
That'll be the first phone call I'll make again to Sherry to say, hey, put me on a phone call with everybody and let's see if we can finally put this thing to bed, see what relief can be provided. But maybe what is best to do is to get this number back from our broker so that we know what that's going to look like, so that maybe when I talk to CSX, I can say, look, you're forcing us to take out all these different lines of coverage. Here's a quantity, quantify it for them and say, can we not do this some other way that doesn't force our hand to do this? This is in your best interest. Give us some relief on this. Maybe I should have that in hand before I talk to them next, but I will at the very least reach out to Sherry tomorrow to set up some phone calls or something to make sure that we have. The bottom line is I just want somebody to tell me this is it, this is all we can do. And when I redline something, send it off and just come back looking like the first version, I can redline it again and send it back over, but we're just getting nowhere. So I need to find out who's the person that can make that decision and can give us the relief. And I'll call Sherry tomorrow to see if we can get an expedited meeting or something scheduled on that.
Okay, I got one more, the easement on the Highway 31 side for those businesses on that side. We did the 25 side, but we've never done the 31 side.
Correct. And I think that we have all the information that we need in order to put that together now. And I think that Jackie has done a great job getting me the information I need. So I think that's an easy something that we can put across the goal line very quickly. I just have not had the chance to put that together and to talk directly with the property owners. I think everybody's in line on that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think as soon as I can get a finalized draft, and I just talked with Jackie about this in an email exchange today, my hope is that, I can send them something Thursday, something in that time frame where we can get it rolling, but I don't see that being a problem. I think we'll get it done very quickly.
All right, that's all I got, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening, everyone. The only thing I really want to talk about is the voting for tomorrow. Connie, is there any information that you can give the citizen of Calera as far as that would be important to the vote, as far as what they need to do, the time? I know we do have it online, but some of our citizens and senior citizens does not have our internet service. So those that are tuning in to us, can you kind of give us just a little information on the voting for tomorrow? What time do the polls and everything open?
That's not my election, so I don't feel comfortable giving that information, but general polls are open 7 to 7. And James put out the information that they could look it up, and he sent that information to me, and I kind of edited it a little bit. When people call me, if they feel comfortable giving me their information over the phone, I do look it up and tell them, but sometimes they got to give personal information for someone else to look that up. Some people don't feel comfortable doing that.
The library is not a polling place for tomorrow. It's the Baptist Church on Whipplewell Drive for this downtown area. And I believe, is it New Hope, is it Hope Mountain?
They changed, so they really do need to call 205-669-3913, which they're only open from 8 to 4. So if by chance the election begins before that, which it does in my home precinct, which is not here, then they're gonna have to wait till 8 o'clock to call and find out where they need to go. But everyone we got a mailing. And this is not the first election that's been held since the change in precincts. But, when in doubt, I would call the county board of registrars to get the right information.
Are you receiving any calls?
All day long for
I
weeks.
kind of figured that.
And come in, and also you cannot bring your absentee ballots or pick up ballots or anything at the library. You have to call Shelby County Board of Registrars.
Okay. That's all I have, John.
Alan?
I want to go back to the railroad thing and just have you clarify what it is we're wanting to do or what they're rejecting.
Well, Bill can probably speak better to the specifications of what we're actually trying to do with the project itself. But what the railroad has wanted us to do is, basically we're doing, handling drainage issues within the railroad. So they're then just saying that we need to do things like indemnify the railroad, that we need to step in and list unnamed third parties that might be working in conjunction with the railroad to our insurance, which is a bit of an issue, especially since we don't know who those people are. It's very hard to go to the insurance and say, please name these third people to be named later. There's issues with them wanting us to have insurance for specific exposure for environmental issues that might arise if we were to have some sort of spillage issue because of it, that triggers this new insurance. And on top of all that, they're also asking us to basically just hold them completely harmless from any actions that we could take within their right of way. I think we're willing to concede some of that, but the biggest issue is those insurance issues. And I have a hard time saying that we will hold somebody harmless forever and ever against anything and all things that we could ever have when municipalities have limitations as to what they can and can't be liable for. So I've expressed that in this exchange in these red lines, but when I struck these things and said, well, under Alabama law, a municipality just simply cannot agree to indemnify under these open-ended provisions, they just sent it back and removed my red line. So we have not had any specific discussions because I haven't been able to identify the person who's actually redlining it. But I made it very clear in my notes. I redlined it, then I put a nice little note beside it that said, here's the code section, this is why we can't agree to this. But nobody's had that dialogue with me on the phone or during a meeting, which I really would like to have, and I'll follow up with Jackie to see if she can set me up with a person that can have that dialogue with me. But the way the railroads generally, they're not communicators. Basically, they like to name their terms and then make you comply with their terms. That is basically every communication I've had with the railroad over my entire legal career. But in this case, since we had Jackie come here and say that she can help, steward this through, I will reach out to her again and see if she can help us. But it is very frustrating.
And this is because we wanted to put a structure on their right of way.
Well, Bill might be able to speak a little better to what we're actually doing out
We want to
there.
do it on their property.
Dumpster, fence.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, basically that's what it boils down to, is wanting to utilize that piece of their right of way for the Main Street project.
Understood. All right.
10 foot, is what we're trying to accomplish, is get 10 foot a piece of property off of the railroad to try to put the dumpster pad and the fence there to gain 10 foot of property.
Is there room to do that without gaining that 10 feet?
Do what now?
Can we withgo trying to obtain that 10 feet and just do it anyway?
Well, it seems like we're going to a whole lot of extreme to get that 10 foot a piece of property.
That's what I'm saying.
And I mentioned it back a year ago, but let's just put the fence, let's put the pad on our property.
On our property
Our business.
and move on.
But here's what, the railroad hadn't told us. How much is that lease gonna be? Now, they try to force us to get this insurance.
The insurance is gonna be astronomical.
We're gonna have to buy the insurance. So then the next thing is they're gonna charge us for that lease. So for 10 foot of property, is it worth it?
Now,
What are we trying to get around the building on the Highway 25?
That is part of it.
The part of the 10 feet's real critical on the end of the building.
Trying to get a sidewalk,
Yeah,
a 6 foot sidewalk in between that building and the railroad.
To get from 25 around to the back of those buildings, so.
But to further clarify for you, Alan, that is part of the second, that's the second part, rather. The first part is the fact that we've already filled up their ditch. We've already done some stuff on their property and worked around as best we could. But as I understand it, this first document refers to the pipe and the structure and the fact that we're not going to create any flooding and that type of thing. It's an agreement about that portion. And then the second level that we haven't even seen is a document allowing us to put structure on that right of way.
so did they give us permission to fill the ditch up?
No,
So they could tell us to uncover it?
they could.
I think we need to quit worrying about CSX and just make an alteration to the plan and move forward. If we need a cut through, we need to buy one of those spaces that's available and put a breezeway through it.
And I will say this, that part of what we're working on is actually an afterward, what's the best way to say this? After the fact agreement for what we've already done. So that's a large portion of this is as far as what we're trying to clean up what's already been done on the property. So that's a bit of an issue right there, as far as the drainage issues.
That's all we got.
Ernest?
Just one question I have, John, maybe you can answer it. On 22, I guess coming out of the city, maybe from Carson, going home up 22, going toward Montevallo, there's the infrastructure going on, look like gas. Did that have anything to do with our gas system, or did that gas or water, do you know?
No, we're not doing anything on 22. Maybe Spire doing work out there?
Yeah, 107, I think that's Spire. Yeah.
So just gas that's going on.
Fire energy, get that gas line.
But is isn't that leaving, I mean, that infrastructure, I know it's on county right away there, but it is going through Calera as well. Is that correct? I know it's at least down near to crossing that new entrance that's going in on the, right down below the school.
I haven't seen any plans of what Spires do, so I don't know where they're coming from or where they're going to on that gas line.
I just wondered what they was doing. Did it have anything to do with our city, our gas system here? That's all I have, John.
All right. We won't quite have 10 minutes.
No, but I think it would probably be better to just do an executive session at the end of your regular scheduled session. Then you don't have to announce the time to come back. You can just let everyone know that you'll adjourn on the completion of the executive session. Probably cleaner and easier to do it that way.
We've got a few minutes. I see Amy out here with Jackie, if you want to come up and talk to us briefly.
Thank you, good evening. So I just wanted to highlight some things upcoming. I can't believe it's November, but ready or not, right? We've got a lot of holiday things in the works. The first one coming up is our Nerd Fest. We've talked about that a little bit, but that is going to be the largest ticketed event that we've ever done in Calera, so we're very excited about that. We're expecting a lot of folks. And I wanted to also promote the Festival of Trees. We've had quite a good bit of interest in that. Several people have already purchased a tree. I want to encourage all of our businesses and churches and community groups to go ahead and register for a tree. The proceeds for purchasing that's a donation to Main Street, and then it's a contest. And so it's a lot of fun, and they're going to be set up all around the pavilion. I've worked with Parks and Rec. They're going to be setting up the trees. They're 5 to 6 foot live, Fraser Firs from North Carolina. They're going to be beautiful, and they'll be out on display and lit and available to see all the way through New Year's Eve. So that's wonderful. But I thought I would like to also go ahead and challenge some of our departments to work, maybe in a little friendly competition. I'd love to give a tree to the police department and to the fire department and see what their groups can come up with to decorate and kind of join in the competition of it all. Because there's going to be some fun bragging rights and prizes. And it's just you're creating some really neat memories and opportunities for people to come out and enjoy the holiday season. There's a lot of other little pop-up events that will go with it as well. And we also are having another first, and that is Calera's Winter Wonderland pageant. So if you've got any little girls that like to twirl, we have lots of spaces open for our first pageant. That's going to be held on the 23rd, and that is all day, but that evening is when we'll have the lighting of the tree and the kickoff of the Festival of Trees, and all the queens will come out and help us, have that celebration that night. But in addition, I will let you know there's more things in the works. By the next meeting, I'll let you know about hopefully some new businesses that will be opening downtown later this month. And you've already acknowledged our special guests. We're always entertaining ideas. People call all the time with ideas for opening new businesses, and of course, there's always developers that are interested in taking on some of our bigger projects, and of course, the Cosby Wade building is one of those. And we've had some really good conversations, and I would like to turn it over to 58 Inc. and let them discuss for a couple minutes with you our latest. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Amy Sturdivant, representing 58 Inc. Reed Knight is also here with me from our small economic development team that serves you in many ways. We work with you, of course, with your existing major employers to make sure that they can expand and grow. We work to attract new employers to your community. And then we also, of course, work on retail attraction for your community, whether hotel or shops or restaurants. And so we've been working for quite a while, of course, with Main Street, Calera, on the downtown area. You all have done such a great job over the last many years here, and added the parking and the playground and the pavilion and the courtyard. And it's really starting to attract the interest of qualified developers. So it comes together at a great time when there are some excellent grants available to help with things like this. because the environment that you've created is also quite interesting and attractive to innovators. And so there's some different ways that we can see if we can get some dollars in. So we just wanted to let you all know that we are always working for, as we call you, Team Calera in our office. And so one of the ways that we'll want to be working with you more over the next several months is really evaluating a possibility for the Causeway Way building that I think goes along with what you're all looking for, but do it in a creative way where we can assist in getting some grants for you all that will help to fuel that. So whether this particular prospect is the one remains to be seen, but we have somebody that we think is qualified that we'd like to talk with you all about. So just kind of letting you know that we've been working on this for a while with Jackie and her team, and just wanted to let you know that we're still working on it, but we'd like to start to have some discussions with you over the next several months about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Ms. Amy, also, as far as the other side of town, on the north end by Walmart up in that area, I mean, we definitely want downtown to look good and get business on this end, but we want to get business throughout the entire city as well. So is there any possibilities, or do we get any calls concerning on the north side of town?
We sure do, and the things that we do on a regular basis, just so you all know, is that we attend a nationwide trade show for retail recruitment. We just went to one in Atlanta. We had a booth there. We had the Calera information there. So we were making sure that any of the brokers or any of the retailers that are going there know about Calera. And we specifically talked about Calera with some food brands that I know you all would like that will do well in that area. And then we also go to one in May. It's the same brand of trade show, but we go to that one. And it's the one we went to in Atlanta is a southeast version of the one that we go to that's nationwide. So there's always prospects and always things moving along. And what we do in those regards is try to make sure that we're helping the owners and the brokers of all of those areas, and then make sure that when a retailer is looking, that we get them matched with that and help if they need anything.
One of the reasons I asked that question is because nothing have came cross council as far as, you know, do we have any incentives to offer, or, I mean, as far as just someone being interested or interested in coming? It's been a long time that we got any movement on anything or proposals, or we haven't, but within the last almost a year now,
Yeah,
nothing else came before the
you
council.
all had a lot happen in a short time there, and I think we're going to start to see some of that movement start maybe when we get either past this week or into the new year when people are ready to invest again.
I know that just triggered my mind that we did the hotel, one hotel up on the north end, and we still have not seen that come out of the ground.
And I don't know what is going on with that particular development. I know both Mayor, you and I have reached out to him and asked him for an update, and he always gives a happy update, but he hasn't submitted anything.
We've gotten a lot of lip service, and I'm okay that something that you've asked about. At what point do we pull the abatement and reconsider?
I think actually the agreement that you have with that hotelier had a deadline that has passed. So what I would say, and I would of course refer to your attorney, is that they probably will have to come back to you to renew that if they indeed go forward.
You know, we've seen plans, we've had plans come through your office on the one I'm talking about, but, you know, and I've talked to the person on the phone and expressed, and I've been asked about it. I've tried to gather information the best I could to relay back to this council. It's just hard to make them come forth and start construction.
Correct. And there have been a lot of projects that, frankly, especially in the retail space, including hotels, that have really hit a pause because of interest rates. It's hard to make a project really work right now, but hopefully, as things change, they'll come back, and they may need to just reconfirm with you all that you're still willing to give that incentive that you had before. But I think we'll see some movement in the coming months.
And Mayor, I'd be happy to take a look at those agreements, let y'all know as far as the timing or anything y'all need to consider, you know, in reapproaching.
We'll turn that leaf over when it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan, would you open us up?
Heavenly Father, we come to you now and just thank you for giving us this day. We ask that you be with us as we move through this meeting. May we be good stewards of our time and our efforts to move the city forward. Again, we thank you for what you do for us. We ask for your forgiveness for we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the streetlight request from Union Station. Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of the agenda is the first item on here. Y'all got me going in different directions. Did I hear motion to approve this agenda?
I move.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the minutes and dispense from our regular meeting, October 21st.
I'll move. I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we're to the streetlight request. It was old business. It's on this agenda. I heard a lot of dialogue about paying streetlights, and I think that we have some policies, and we've had policies over the years. I know that it seems like we've tried to not treat neighborhoods unfairly, and pay some and not pay others. But this one's on the table for us to pay from Union Station, and to my knowledge, Union Station has its homeowner association in place. I think we heard from that fellow. It was the president.
And my question is, then, I feel like then that all existing subdivisions should be grandfathered in. Now, the new ones, they should come before us, is my opinion, and present why they, need their lights paid for by us, but the existing subdivisions, I feel like that, like I stated, that it's a fairness issue. If some with HOAs have been or paid by the city, then the existing ones should be as well. So I would like to amend the agenda to include all existing subdivisions that are not being paid by the city, should be also included.
Do we have, Kelly, do you have any kind of budgeted, proposed?
$131,000 was spent last year on streetlights, and that's what's budgeted again for this year. So if you do make that vote, we need a way of making an estimate of what that will cost, and you guys would have to do a budget adjustment to do that.
Do you have a count on the lights that are in over the entire city, the count of street lights and
So, I think think what I sent y'all, I want to say there was 111 that we did not pay.
That's what was on the list.
111?
We had
So,
709.
111, and that's just in developments. Now, there may be some one-offs on some areas or whatever, but just in development.
And some of those that were on the list that you sent, the 111, belong to Timberline, and Timberline is still in process, right?
Well, by the new process, I mean, the final plat's been approved. So they're past that point, but yeah, some of it is phase 6.
So what is the exact count that we are paying?
I don't remember
That
that.
includes subdivisions that have HOA?
Don't remember that.
He
It's
gave the
it's
count on that spreadsheet, it was 794.
794 and there's 111 we don't.
But why would new subdivisions be excluded if you want everybody included?
Well, I feel like the existing ones should have been included as all the others were in the first place.
Understand? All right, but then when a new subdivision comes online, why would they not be included?
Well, that's up for discussion. But like I said, existing, if they were being paid with HOA, subdivisions with HOAs have their 790 something, have their streetlights being covered, then the existing ones, the remaining ones should also.
Now, that 794 are not subdivisions. Those are actually lights, as, there are subdivisions on there, you're absolutely right. But we also have lights going up and down Highway 31. So that 794, I don't want you to think is all subdivisions.
Well, like I said, it's just 110 remaining, so is that correct? Then those should as well be covered. That's just what my take is on it. So, could we amend the agenda to take a vote on that?
So let me ask this question. As far as a subdivision that's already existing, but they don't have any lights in them at all, we're gonna go in and put the lights, would that be, that we have to put the lights in that subdivision? I mean, just asking.
I'm gonna have to speak up on that, because Isla lives in a subdivision now that doesn't have any lights in it, period. So the developer's the one that's gonna put the lights in and paying the cost of the transformer and paying the cost of the light. So all we do is paying the light bill once their plat is approved and come to us. Now these subdivisions that's behind us is like Union Station. I think we need to take them one at a time until they come to us. We're making sure if we own the streets, then I think we should be paying for it.
So
Just like over there, I'm calling it, over where Adam lives, I don't think we own those streets yet, because those streets is not, they don't have a seal coat on them or nothing. But I don't see that it's the city's responsibility to go out there and put street lights in existing subdivisions that's already out there.
Okay, so I guess that's my point. I just want to be specific on exactly
Yeah.
which ones we're referring to, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying the subdivisions that don't have lights, so, because that's a different issue. We're not discussing putting up lights that don't have lights. So, like Councilman Carl said, that's the developer should have done that, and if that hadn't been done, we're not trying to put up lights. I'm discussing the lights that already exist in subdivisions that we've taken over the streets and what have you. It's a finished subdivision, and then it should be grandfathered in. That's what I think.
And that would also include street lights, just that's not in a subdivision. Would that be included? Like lights that are existing now that's not working or is out, if we are taking on the
What
subdivision.
we're discussing is the streetlights in the subdivision. That, that's the discussion. There are several subdivisions that are not being covered, and some are. The majority of them are. So we're looking at the remaining subdivisions that the city has taken over that have streetlights that should be included as well.
The one on the agenda tonight is Union Station. Are those streets dedicated to us?
Yes.
So I'm hearing several sides to this that we maybe should wait and take them one at a time based on the streets being accepted and dedicated to the city. The proper paperwork in place for that. And I personally think that if there is a homeowner association, they should come to us and make the request. So, instead of just blanketing and saying we're going to just handle all of them in one fell swoop, I think that's something that, like Union Station, they did come and make the request. I think that's, we're setting precedent. Come make your request. Make sure that we have the paperwork for the streets and the dedication of the streets, and then from that point on, then the council can reasonably make their decision to accept them. So,
Well, Mayor, one point is the subdivision regulation that was just changed. The trigger is final plat approval, not adoption of street. At time of, that they could petition for the city to pay the monthly bill.
okay.
Which are two different things.
We have one item on the agenda. Council needs to tell me.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, that we pay for the street lights at Union Station.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right. Bill, you kind of put this on there just because you...
Yeah, I think it's just FYI, Mayor.
Okay.
There's no, unless somebody has a question, I don't think there's any discussion.
Road rating report, that was talked about on the last meeting. Here we go for resolution 2024-52. And it's the policies of the police department. Do we need unanimous consent on this?
I move for unanimous consent.
I second.
Got a motion and a second, unanimous consent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt.
I'll move.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. James, you ready to talk to us?
Just wanted to bring two things up real quick. One is I had a request from the fire department, and their request is they would like to be able to have a 24/7 live camera feed on the railroad crossing at Highway 22. And their thought process behind this is several different advantages. One would be, as they're exiting the station, there's a television they have on the wall, and they would like to be able to have that broadcast on that television along with the iPad they have in the truck, and that way they know when they're getting ready to leave the station on an emergency call if the railroad crossing is currently blocked or not. Their rationale behind that is, by the time you get a large fire truck like that down George Road Parkway, down County Road 22 to the railroad tracks to realize that it's blocked by a train, then trying to turn a ladder truck around in that area down there and then having to make another route out, they would like the ability to know, okay, we need to make an alternate route, or we need to notify another station to be en route to help, increase their response times. So we got with Cisco, and Cisco was generous enough to allow us to put a camera on their property. So what this camera would be, I included it in y'all's council packet, but It is what is called an off-the-grid system, so it runs off solar power and cell signal. Where we're going to be able to put it, if you approve it, is outside the right-of-way of the county, for the county road, and outside the railroad's right-of-way, so we wouldn't have to worry about any kind of permitting or anything like that. And Cisco said if we need our attorney to draw up some kind of paperwork, just to say that we do have, some kind of easement to be able to access that camera back and forth, they'd be happy to take care of that. But Cisco has been fantastic about trying to facilitate this for the fire department, because they really understand how valuable it is for them. In addition to that, up on the screen you'll see a new app that we've decided to launch, which is called My Calera app. What this will do is, remember before a couple of years ago, we used C-Click Fix to be able to do, different issues going on in the city. But the problem was it wasn't really a branded app. We couldn't really do a whole lot of extra things with it. With the My Calera app, we're actually able to completely, pretty much adjust anything that we need to, put different information in there. Like you can actually go to the Apple Store or Google Android Store to download it now. And it's called My Calera. You just type that in, search it, and you can download it. But we've been updating it for a while. I've had it live for a few months, and we had put it on one spot of our website where people can go and report things. We already have several hundred people that already have this app and have been using it. So we can do push notifications for utility issues, for traffic issues. We even, like right now, we even have a link where people can go on there and do what Connie was talking about earlier, and put their name in and actually see where their voting location is. Also send out push notifications of, hey, if you think you're supposed to be going to the library to vote, that's incorrect. Here's where you need to put your information in, and it tells them exactly where they need to go. So different things like that we can update and keep it new, fresh information, and they can sign up for push notifications. They can select what they want and what they don't want. So some of the options we have now are like Main Street Calera events, or utility issues, or all different kinds of things, and we constantly come up with more. But what the camera would do to help this is, we've been doing some testing, and we would actually be able to have live camera feeds of 4 of our railroad crossings on this app. So it would have the Highway 25, the 17th Avenue, the 20th Avenue, and if you approve this, it'll have the Cisco camera. All where if the citizen's about to leave their house, they can actually check to see what the railroad status is. Or if they're stuck in traffic at the Highway 25, they can see, is 17th Avenue open? Is 20th Avenue open? In addition to that, that also gives our emergency services, our police, our fire, the ability to see that. Because our dispatch center, Chief was talking about the real-time crime center, they will have access to all of those crossings. And I just spoke with DOT the other day, and they're going to give us a dashboard to all the DOT cameras that they're putting up on the interstate for live feeds. So it really will give them a real-time advantage to see what's going on in the city and to be able to get to our citizens faster. So again, what you're looking at tonight for the cameras, it includes, one thing I didn't include there was the cost of the pole. Now the good thing is I talked to Bill, and he said that his crew would be able to put the pole up, and the cost of the pole would be about $700, and then you have the other cost in there. So when I do all the figuring up of them for solar and everything, I think it came out to $7,108. So what that includes is the camera, it includes the solar panels with battery backup, and the LTE service and all that stuff. So, and we'd be able to have it implemented probably within 60 days of your approval. So, again, it was something that was brought to me by the fire department. We worked together on it, and so, but I think it's going to benefit not only the fire department, but police and our citizens all in one fell swoop. So, are there any questions or anything? And it also does integrate with the same system that we put in City Hall, the parks, and everything else. So it's not like it's something else that somebody has to go to for information. So it's all in the same system that we have for the camera trailer that's on order.
You just need us to make this a capital request.
That's correct.
Budget adjustment. Kelly, do you have a problem with that?
I don't. We currently have $43,000 excess revenue over expense, so it would come from that general fund.
Council have any comments, questions? If not, I need a motion to make that budget adjustment for this capital expenditure.
I'll
Make the motion.
I second.
Got multiple motions at the second.
Yeah, that's
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Motion carried. Brian, at this time, you've asked us,
Yes, sir. At this time, I'll go ahead and make a declaration pursuant to Alabama Code Section 36-25A-73, that the council will go into executive session to discuss the legal ramifications of a pending controversy involving proposed ordinance number PZ 2024-09, and a possible compromise proposed by council who have challenged this, and I believe at the last council meeting stated that they could challenge this. And I would also just request designation of myself, clerk, and I'm not sure if council needs any other staff in that meeting, if there's anyone else that y'all would like to call in as well.
clerk and
I believe
the
that.
council.
Yes, sir.
We'll need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Got a motion and a second. Now, we need a roll call vote.
Yes, sir.
Ernest?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
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 I'm yes. And we will not reconvene
Correct.
in here. The agenda is-
If there's, if you're not going to reconvene, then there's no reason to state a period of time that you're going to be in executive session. You can just say that you'll be adjourned after that.